Dear students, welcome to session 2 of chapter number 1, Computer System Overview. Students, so in this session we are going to study about various types of memories we have in a computer. So we have two kinds of memories basically, primary memory and the secondary memory. We'll take them one by one. So first of all, we'll have a look at the primary memory or the main memory of the computer. Okay. Now, what is main memory actually? It is a small memory to which CPU has immediate or direct access. That means CPU can directly access the main memory of our computer. So now we have two types of main memories, that is random access memory and read-only memory. Let's see. What is random access memory? Actually, the name says, that it will be accessed randomly. See, the memory is actually the collection of cells, right? Like you have seen in a spreadsheet, Excel sheet you have seen. So in that what happens? The intersection of rows and column is known as cell, and all the data gets stored on the cells itself. So same is the case with random access memory or any memory. We can say that the where the data is stored in cells. Okay, so and this memory is accessed randomly or directly. Let's suppose, see, every cell has a cell address. Okay, like your houses also has addresses, and every address is different from another. So same is the case here also. All the cells of the memory has a different address. Let's suppose we some data is stored at location at the address 2000. So what will happen with random access memory? Directly the control will go to 2000 location and it will access the data directly from there. It will not move sequentially. That means first of all it will visit 0th cell, then first cell, and then so on till it will reach 2000. No, it will not work like that. It will directly reach at 2000th location and access the content from there. Okay, now what actually is stored in random access memory? All the programs or anything that is required to be executed. Okay, like let's suppose we want to work on MS Word, or let's suppose we want to play a game. So we just open the game or that program by double clicking on it. So that means what happens? From the hard disk, the things gets copied onto random access memory, and then only we can work on it. That means anything that is to be opened, any program that is to be worked upon, will first of all has to be copied from the hard disk or from any storage area to RAM first, and then only we can make any editing or we can work on that program. Okay, and after making the corrections, when we close our software or our file, so that means what? That program gets erased from random access memory and it gets stored onto the permanent storage area. Let's suppose it can be a hard disk or a pen drive or anywhere else. Okay. Now next thing is, it is a volatile memory. So volatility means what? Till the electricity is there. Okay. Till then only this the data can be kept inside random access memory or RAM. Okay, as soon as we turn off the light, okay, that means if the light is not there, if electricity is not there, if current is not there, the data is going to be lost. See, when you work in labs or when you work on your laptops, if the battery goes off, what happens? If you are working on some file, what happens? The contents of the file gets erased. Till where you have saved the content, till there the contents are there. Content is there. But as soon as light goes away, and if you have written, let's suppose 3 more lines onto the file, what happens? Those 3 lines gets erased. That means what? That the because the RAM is a volatile kind of memory, so the data which is there in RAM gets erased. It is not a temporary memory. Now we have, see, we have a picture here of the main memory, 5248, 5249. These all are actually the addresses of these cells. Okay, and the content is written inside it, 100111010. So this is the content. Actually, the content is always stored in the form of binary language. This we have already studied. So the content is like this, and 5248 and all are the memory addresses of cells. Every cell has a different memory address. Now we come to different units of memory. Like we have different units for length. We have different units of measurement for everything. So same goes with the memory also. So we can see here 1 bit is 0 or 1. I told you that computer only understand the language of zeros and ones. So 1 bit is what? That means either a 0 or a 1. Next we come to nibble. Nibble is the collection of 4 bits. And what is a byte? It is the collection of 8 bits. Okay, one character is actually 1 byte, or we can say 8 bits. So nibble is actually half a byte. Okay, then there is 1 kilobyte or 1 KB we can call it. That is the collection of 1024 bytes, or we can also say 2 to the power 10 bytes. 2 to the power 10 is actually 1024. Next comes 1 megabyte, that is 2 to the power 10 KB. 1 gigabyte, 2 to the power 10 megabytes. Okay, then comes TB, petabyte, exabyte and zettabyte. Next you can see there are 2 types of random access memories, that is DRAM and SRAM. DRAM is actually dynamic random access memory. What is that? That whatever data is present on this DRAM, it loses its strength off and on. Okay, after every few milliseconds, the data starts getting erased from the memory. So what happens? We require continuous refreshing of our data on this DRAM. That is why we call it dynamic random access memory. We require to refresh our this DRAM again and again so that our data is intact on it. Okay, so now this DRAM actually is made up of few electronic, very small electronic devices, that is resistors and transistors. Okay, it is a cheap kind of memory. That means it is not costly, it is very cheap. Okay, then it requires high power consumption. This means what? Because the data is to be refreshed again and again, it will consume electricity. So that is why it is said that it requires more power to keep the data intact over it. Okay, and it can store large amount of data on it. See students, you can open 2 or 3 or 4 softwares together on your computers, right? So as soon as we open something, open any software, what happens? That software needs to be in the random access memory only. So that means there should be a lot of space in your random access memory to hold all these data. Okay, all these softwares. So that is why we say the DRAMs can store a large amount of data on it. So all the RAMs actually uses DRAM for its functioning. Then we come to SRAM, or static random access memory. So again, it is made up of flip-flops and many transistors are there. Again, electronic devices I'm talking about. Flip-flops and transistors are all electronic devices. Small electronic devices are these. So it is made up of flip-flops and transistors. It does not require much refreshing of data, or does not require refreshing of data. That means once the data is there in SRAM, it will remain there till the power doesn't goes off. Okay, see, DRAM and SRAM both are volatile in nature, but DRAM is much more volatile because it requires refreshing of data after every few milliseconds. Whereas SRAM, once the data is there into it, it does not require refreshing of the data again and again. So that is why it is more expensive. Better technology will be expensive, of course, but it requires low power consumption, because once the data is there, we do not require more power to keep that data refreshed. Okay, and it can store less amount of data. So because it is expensive also, so we use a very small amount of SRAMs in our computer. Then we come to another primary memory, that is read-only memory or ROM. Okay, so actually what is ROM? ROM is as the name says, read-only memory. So that means what? We cannot write onto it, right? So what to store onto ROM? What is stored inside ROM? Actually the instructions, the pre-written instructions which are used to on the computer, or which are required to smooth functioning of our computer, are written inside the ROM memory. These instructions are written by the manufacturers only. Okay, it's a non-volatile memory. That means once the instructions are written, now whether the light is there, whether the current is there or not, the instructions are not going to go away. Okay, but it is slower than RAM because it's a sequential access memory. Like random access memory. In random access memory, what happens? We used to go to a location directly. But in read-only memory, we have to move sequentially to that location. If we have to move to location 2000, that means we'll start from 0 until 2000 we have to move on. So now read-only memories or ROMs are of different types. You can see here PROMs, they can be written just once only, and now the data cannot be erased from it. No changes can be made. Then we have erasable programmable read-only memories. Okay, using UV radiations, ultraviolet radiations, we can delete the content of EPROMs several times and it can be rewritten again and again. So see what happens. These ROMs are to be kept under UV radiations for 20 minutes and thus the whole content of the ROM gets erased and now it can be freshly written. Next we come to EEPROM. This can be erased electrically. Instead of UV radiations, we use electricity to erase the contents of these EEPROMs, and selective data can be erased. That means in like EEPROM, what happens? The whole content goes away at one shot, right? But in EEPROM, we can select the data and that will be erased and rest of the data remains intact. In the next case, flash EEPROM, these are very fast EEPROMs and the data goes away totally. It is not selective erasable ROM. The data goes away totally. In a second, the data can be erased in flash EEPROM. And then comes the mask ROM. See, once the data is finalized by the manufacturer, then the ROM is converted to mask ROM. A mask is kept on the ROM, okay, and thus the data will not be erased from it. Now we come to different secondary storage units over here. So we have hard disk, optical storage devices like CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, and we have flash memories. Let's see. So hard disk, as you know, it is a permanent storage device and it's a magnetic storage device which is actually inbuilt or installed inside a computer. Okay, so it can store a large amount of data into it. Now your hard disk actually consists of several circular platters. You can see the circular platter on the hard disk. Okay, and onto it there is a read-write head also. Okay, now what happens? The data is written on tracks and sectors. I'll just show you. And the data is written on both sides of the platters. You can see here in this, you can see tracks and sectors. So all the circles actually are the tracks, and whatever the segments we have made onto a track are the sectors. So data is actually written onto the sectors using read-write head. See another view of it. So several platters are there. So both sides data can be written. So two read-write head for one circular disk we have. Okay, the spindle is there. This spindle actually rotates and thus the circular disk also gets rotated. Okay, and read write head is actually fixed at a position. It can write the data as soon as it finds a empty place, or if you want to search for a file, it will search the data like that only. Next, we come to different storage, optical storage devices like CDs. First of all, compact disc. So it uses red laser beam to store our data. A CD can store up to 700 MB of data onto it. Okay, it's a portable type of device. Okay, it can store data and we can take it from one place to another. So we have different types of CDs, 3 types of CDs. One is CD-ROM. So CD-ROM is actually pre-written by the manufacturer's end only. Actually, whatever softwares or if any information is to be passed, okay, that is written on CD-ROMs because it is not rewritable. We cannot rewrite over it. So that is why CD-ROMs are just means they are written just once only. So like software is to be stored, like if you have purchased MS Office, okay, that will be written on a CD-ROM. Or if you want to purchase an encyclopedia, so again it will be written on CD-ROM. Okay, then we have CD recordable. So CD recordable can be written by the user. Okay, it is used to store data. It can be written by the user, but it will be written just once. Okay, and CD RW, that is CD rewritable, can be written several times. The data can be erased and rewritten several times, okay, by the user, but it requires a CD writer to write onto it. Next, we come to DVDs. Again, DVDs are similar to CDs only, but the difference is it can store up to 17 GB of data onto it. Okay, the same is the case with DVD-ROMs. They are pre-written by the manufacturers. DVD-R is written just once and DVD-RW can be written several times. And last optical storage device is Blu-ray disc. It is actually, it uses blue violet laser light to store data onto it. Okay, like CDs and DVDs uses red laser light, it uses blue violet laser light. It is more precise actually. It has a shorter wavelength than the red laser light. So that is why the data is written more precisely onto a Blu-ray disc, and thus it can store a very large amount of data onto it. You can store up to 128 GB of data onto a Blu-ray disc. That means many games or many movies can come on a single Blu-ray disc. Then we have different flash memories like pen drives are there or memory chips are there. Okay, so these are actually portable devices. Portability means we can take the thing from one place to another. They are very small, so they can be taken from one place to another. They are permanent storage devices. You can store now up to 1 to 2 terabytes of data onto a flash memory. So students, with this we come to the end of this session. Thank you. I'll meet you in the next session.